Hey besties, we're here for part 2. Let's do a quick recap though for those of you who may not have seen part 1. I got an itch, had an idea at work, and I wanted to make this black yarn with pops of color. So here was our first incarnation, but the only black I had at the time was baby alpaca, which is lovely, but it's a dense yarn and I wanted to make something that had more spring and memory, which you won't get with alpaca yarn. So then I remembered that I had, hold on, I've got everything all sorted around here, this Clun Forest Cross in this beautiful black, but it had the sun bleached tips and it was rather debris filled. So we washed it, we trimmed off the tips, and we carded up a couple of bats. And look how nice and black that is. Gorgeous, right? We mixed it with some colors on the drum carder, and we came up with this. Now, I'm liking it better, but I think it needs more color and less of the black. So now here we are, part 2. We've got the remainder of this bat. We've got our colors. We're going to drum card and sample. We're going to spin it up the whole 9 yards. But I thought while we're at it, let's find out what color it'll be if we don't trim off these sun bleached tips. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and rather than clean it and drum card it and everything, I'm just going to do up a couple of row legs of it just to spin up a sample so we can see the color difference between same fleece, same everything, but we're just going to leave those sun bleached tips on, and we're going to see what kind of color difference we get between the two. Because you can see the underside is very black, but those tips are very bleached, and I want to see how much they're going to lighten that color, because if I can get away without cutting out all the sun bleached tips, that'd be awesome. So what I'm going to do is card up a few roll legs of this, and we're going to use the drum carder to make up another color speckled bat. So I'm going to get started with the bat, then we'll hand card some roll legs, and then we'll do the spinning part and some sampling. All the things. So buckle in, get your cup of tea or whatever, and let's do some more experimenting. All right, I have some nice fluffy locks. I'm just going to make a couple roll eggs with that. We don't need a lot to do a test spin, but you can see how it gets all the veggie matter out of the fiber. Just going to give my cards a quick clean here before I do roll eggs. Vital Tool. It's a hairbrush cleaner. Just give my cards a quick clean so I'm not adding debris back in because it's all over my pants too. All right. But you can see I left those sun bleach tips in, and we're going to see how much it lightens it up. That's plenty for a roll egg. And remember, I suck dead bears at this, but we're going to attempt it anyways. Shouldn't need much because it is all nice and open. So I'm just going to make some little teeny roll eggs. I'm not used to using my big hand cards. I'm used to using my cotton cards. Well, there's a crappy roll egg. You know what? I'm just going to spin it from the fluff. To heck with it. And then I have a little bit of the bat left over. So we're going to use these for a color test on the final yarn. Because you can see like the sun bleach tips are showing up really well here. But maybe once they blend in, they won't show up so much. Then we have our bats. So I added more color, used less black. Then I split the bat in half. So I have this one where I didn't card it again. I just left it in the layers. And then I have this bat where I carded it again to kind of blend it more together. So we can see if it's proportions or prep, which one works out better. So now we need our spinning wheel. And we're going to get doing some more sampling. Isn't this fun? I'm actually enjoying this, where usually sampling drives me mental. I'm having fun with this. So let's get to it. spinning samples are done. So let's have a look at them. So this is the one where I did not trim off the sun bleach tips. And while it is still dark, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but in my eyes, I can see that this is a chocolate brown. Whereas this one with no tips in it is definitely black. And I think that's showing up on camera. So this one's chocolate brown, this one's black. So it is definitely worth taking those sun bleach tips off to make it a truer black. I think that there is a big difference. Well, maybe not a big difference, but there is definitely a difference. Oh, there. You can probably see it best there. Chocolate brown, black. So I'm glad I tested because now I know it is actually worth it to take those sun bleach tips off to make it a more true black. Next was our bat. So I split it in half and I just carded one half a second time. So this is the one that I did not card the second time. And this is the one that I carded a second time. So realistically, in looks, there's not that much difference. Adding more color made more of a change for me. But what it really comes down to is the spinning and the handle of the yarn. This one that I did not card, so this was just carded it once in layers, then stripped the bat and spun it. And I had to spin it with a semi-worsted style to try to keep it contained so that it didn't get too many clumps. This is the one that I carded a second time. And let me say that Clun Forest, I think this was a Clun Forest Dorset cross. I can't remember. It was crossed with something. This spins woolen like a freaking dream. It is absolutely an effortless woolen spin. Even with all these colors added in, it was just so smooth, just like butter. And the yarn handle on this is definitely softer. Let's see if we can see the difference. Worsted, woolen. I think it does show up even on camera. So this is a much denser, shinier. This one's a softer, fluffier. So I think it is worth doing the second carding to make it a little more even, but definitely for the spin, because this was a dream to spin woolen, just like butter. Like I can't even tell you how fabulously this spun woolen. So now I'm going to take these two and I'm going to do up a sample just so we can get the final say on which is better. So just for reference, this was my original spun and crocheted and knit. So you can see that the color flecks are better, but I did use more colors in this too. So I'm going to, oh, there's Latte. I'm going to go and stitch these up and we will be back for a final wrap up. But there's all our samples spun. Hello, Latte. He's letting me know it's time to come in from the catio and get treats. So I'm going to go do that and I'll be back when I have samples spun. And we have our swatches. So this was our original one. These were our second goes. So this one was the only put it through the drum carder once and spun worsted. It's a very heavy yarn because it came out thicker, and chain plying it just made it even heavier, but the colors are nice. I like those pops of color. Here's the one that went through the drum carder twice. It is more like a tweedy color pattern, which I kind of like, but the biggest thing that I like about this sample is how it's spun. That woolen draft was so perfect, buttery soft, and amazing. So I want to go with this. And we determined taking out those sun bleach chips makes it much darker. Wonder if you can see here how much blacker this looks than this. So I need to prep all my fiber, which means trimming off all the sun bleach chips, cleaning up the locks, and then carding them. So I think what I'm going to do is I will trim the tips, card it right away to get the debris out, and make bins of combed fiber. Well, not combed, it'll be carded fiber for putting onto the drum carder, which will be the next step. But we have a lot of fiber to get through, so I'm going to get working on that, and I'll be back. I've made myself a ton of work, but that's okay. I enjoy this. Let's get working. So in typical Dr. Chaos form, I had another idea. So I spun some up and did a sample. So here it is. And I have decided that I love this the absolute most. So what I've done, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to spin a single with this, and then I'm carding up a bunch of silk, and it's got just a little black in there to help the silk not stick to the drum carder. And then I'll spin up a single of this and then ply them together to get this. Isn't it fabulous? I absolutely adore it. I love it. And it's got stretch because of the wool that we used. So it's got stretch and it's got memory, but it's got that chaotic color and the nappy bits. And I just, when I did this, I squealed. Like my heart was so happy. And I can use any colors I have and just do them in strips so that we get these stripes of color, because I love it. I adore this. This makes me so happy. So I went to work and I watched a full season of Ink Master. Well, I flicked up all of this wool. I also decided that there wasn't enough of a color change leaving those sun bleach tips in. It was taking too much time taking them all off. So I left them, I carded or flicked these all open. So now I'm going to card this up. Now this is a very debris filled fleece and there's still a bit in here, but I'm not worrying about it. I want to get on with this project. So I have a couple of bats. So this is the one where I took the sun bleach tips off. You can see how black that is. This is the one where the sun bleach tips are in. So it does lighten it up a bit, but I think overall it's not going to make that much difference in the end product. See? So I'm happy with it, and it's something that I can do quicker. So I'm going to keep carding, doing up my locks on the drum carder, and then I will come back when I'm carding up the silk. I'll film that so you can see what I'm doing there. I just want to make it a little smoother, a little easier to spin and blend some of those colors together, because spinning in the form it's in right now tends to be a bit sticky and clumpy, and I don't want too much of that. A little bit of nappiness is fine, but I don't want like big clumps, and I don't want to fight in my spin to get the fiber to draft, which I find just carding it up helps with that. And then I can do each bat in like multicolors and just have fun with it, and we'll have all colors because we know how I love color. And I mean, really, where did I put it? Oh, it's over here. How can I not love this? Like, this is amazing to me. This is like my jam. This makes my heart so happy. So I'm going to keep working and I'll be back when it's time to card some silk. in the end, here's what my yarn ended up looking like. I did go a little bit more chaotic than just straight colorways. I went with some shorter ones and added in some oddball colors and just had a good time mixing those silks in with that black. And it's just so fun. I love it. So I figured it's time I learned how to knit color work because, you know, I just like to challenge myself. So I took a sample and I knit up this simple color work, right? And you can see where my floats poked through as I started and then how it got cleaner as I went because I learned all the pitfalls. And I also made it with needles that were way too small because you can see how tight that is. It's like, ah! So once I had got the hang of it with this small sample, I can show you the back so you can see how my floats improved going up and how tidy it looks up here on both sides. So I sized up my needles and I did a pattern repeat and then I made this. Look at the kitty cats. I love the way the colors change as you go through and it's like pretty chaotic, agreed, but I love it. This is so my jam. So now I have to figure out how to turn this into a garment or something. But for the moment, I'm just super pleased with figuring out color work. And you can see how the tension is much better on it, even though the edges are curling because that was just straight stitch. There was no color work in it. But look at the kitties. I'll even show you the back. So you can see I'm not always terribly consistent with my floats, but I am getting way, way better. And considering I'm just teaching myself color work now, I think I did not too bad. And I kind of enjoyed it. It was sort of fun. Sort of, kind of, qualifying it. It did take a lot of concentration, and there were moments when it was terribly frustrating, but I pushed through, and I have this beautiful kitty cat panel that I don't know what I'm going to do with yet. But I will do something with it. Maybe I'll just make a whole bunch of colorwork squares and make a blankie out of it. I don't know. But these are both hand spun wools, and that's what I ended up doing with this black and colored silk. This ending took forever. I'm going to say a couple of weeks from start of the video till now. So, you know, it's a long one, but hopefully you stuck around until the end so you could see the end product. So this was another chaotic adventure, but so much fun. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye!